One really great playbook for cold outbound campaigns is to be able to look at your current customers list and find people who used to work at those current customer lists, whether or not they worked there while you implemented your solution or they've moved on and, in a time period where they weren't there. It's still a great outbound campaign to be able to say, hey, you used to work at Salesforce. We work with Salesforce. Would you want to get connected about how we're helping them? Essentially, something like that, even if they weren't a part of the team that implemented your solution. We're going to go over a Clay workflow that can make all of this possible so you can automate it and keep it as one of your always on campaigns. All right, so this workflow gets a little bit interesting. So I'm going to try to take it as slowly as we possibly can. We have one list of all of this data is purely hypothetical, and I just got what we needed in order to make it up. So we have a list of potential prospects, and then we have a list of 1,000 random companies that are going to act as our current customers. So let's pretend these 1,000 companies in this list is our current customer list, right? And then these prospects are completely random prospects. And we want to score all of these prospects to see if anybody on this prospect list has a history of working at one of the companies that are on our list. We don't need to make sure that they work there at the correct time or anything like that, but we could do that. And maybe at the end of the video, we could see. So if you worked with a company in 2023 and you want to see that they had a past experience working at the company in 2023, we would be able to do that with some filters, but we don't have to get into that right now. And so the first thing that we need to do is we just need to get this table ready for a lookup. Now, we're going to look up by the LinkedIn company URL slug. So a slug is the data right here. See how it says linkedin.com/company and then / and then First Baptist Church of Kenmore. Again, this is just a random list. This part after company /, that's the LinkedIn company slug. The reason we're going to look up by that is because on everybody's past company experience, they're always going to have that slug, but sometimes companies get their domains mixed up, and I just prefer to do a lookup based off of the slug anyway. So we first just make a formula where all we do is we literally just ask the AI formula generator in Clay to just return the data after company / from LinkedIn URL. Super easy. That's all we need to do. Then we're going to hop over to the prospect examples, and we're going to get this one ready as well too. This, you got to just think about what we need here, right? So we have the company domain right here, and this is the company that they currently work at. What we could do here, or we could take the LinkedIn company URL slug as well too. We're going to use filter list of objects, and we're going to look at all of their past experience, and we're going to look for any past experience that does not contain this company domain. Now, for the same reasons that I explained with the slug, you should probably be using the slug in this example. I was just trying to put this together quickly for this video. But if we look up and we say, hey, the company domain does not contain this company domain, all we're going to get is their past experience when they weren't working at Sony Interactive or when they weren't working at Vimo or whatever it might be. So then we'll do this lookup and you'll see, okay, in their past, let's go say here, they work at Portland Hostel right now. And in their past, they used to work at cancer.org or the American Cancer Society, right? And then in their past, they also used to work at Green Heart International and all of these things. Now, one thing that isn't taken care of right now, that if we would so choose, we could take care of this too, is this is just filtered for the company domain not existing in their experience. We could also filter this list of companies for experiences that are not current as well too. So we know that it is their past experience. And if we just do that live really quickly, we would just add another filter list of objects. And now this gets kind of meta. We're going to filter the filter list of objects. So we'll input the filter list of objects, and then we'll hit filtered array, and then we'll hit insert all 92 items. And then for the filter field, we are going to do, you just have to look it up perfectly inside of Clay. So we're going to do filter list of objects, filter array, and then it's going to be something like, hang on, let me just pause. And with that quick pause, all I was looking for is you just need to get this filter field to equal exactly what it is in filtered array. And so that's all I was just looking up. And you'll see that most of the time it's pretty similar, but you'll see this person has 7 matches found and now they're at 6 matches found. So all we're just trying to just confirm is that it is actually their past experience that they do not currently work at. but then the rest of the workflow still follows. Then all we will do, and this is the part that gets a little bit funky, what we need to do is we need to pull out all of the company slug URLs that are in this experience. So we just use a formula inside of Clay, literally stringify all URL after removing this. And then that will get you the output of all of these different LinkedIn company URL slugs. That's just pulling it from the filtered array here. And then we'll be able to pull out all of their past experience. Then we just clean it up to just get rid of any anomalies like these backslashes and those kinds of things. We just want to get rid of, remove any quotes or backslashes or brackets and all of these things from company domain filter. And then we'll get that. If we wanted to, we could also run it on here too. All this is doing, again, just a recap, because I know I talk fast. All we're doing here is we're just confirming that these experiences are actually not current for them, but this list is pretty dang certain as well. Now, our final step is now we're going to go to our current customer list. We're going to go back and we're going to set up one more lookup column. And so now what this lookup column is doing is we have the LinkedIn company URL slug here. And then we're going to make a lookup column back to our prospect examples list. And we're going to look at the slug lookup. So remember, with this slug lookup, see how we have all of their past experiences and those company URL slugs here. So what we can do is we can do a contain search to see, okay, in your past, do you have experience of working at one of our past or working at one of our current customers? So what we can do is we can, and now because this is a random list, for the most part, nobody is going to have, any of these in here. And so what we can do is we could just copy this and we can go over to prospect examples to just show you how this is going to work. And we can just put this as the slug lookup. And then we'll just make an example here. And we're just going to rerun this. And now once this reruns, we should get a record that's found. And so now we found this record found, and it was put on Alex Wilson, which I was using Alex Wilson for an example before, which is why it shows up down here. But anyway, now we have Alex Wilson, and now they're working at, if we were to say now they're working at Sony, but they used to be working at Digital Fusion, this is what we've got here. And we have all of this looked up right here. Now we can go find their email address and we can filter this, and we could say, hey, I know you're working at Digital Fusion, but you in the past were working with Sony Interactive. That's one of our current customers, or I'm so sorry. This is the customer list. So not to confuse people. This workflow even confuses me, so I apologize. This is our current customer list. We can go out to them and we could say, hey, Alex, I know you're at Sony and you have an experience of working with Digital Fusion. Digital Fusion is one of our current customers right now. And I wanted to see if the same way we help Digital Fusion, we'd be able to help Sony Interactive, right? Now, the final thing, before we do a total review, the final thing that gets done here is we want to double check and be sure, is this new domain the same domain as something in here? So see how we looked up Alyssa Dill here and it said clubready.com. So now all that's happening is there's just somebody on our prospect list who happens to work at one of our current customers. We just want to block that out. So we have this checkbox here that we can filter out from our campaigns to just be very sure that we're not reaching out to a current customer and we're saying, hey, I saw you have an experience of working with our current customer. Did you know that you're working with current customer? We don't want to say that, right? So final 1-minute review of how this works. First, we get the LinkedIn URL slug from our company list. Act like this is your current customer list and you want to see if anybody has a past experience of working at one of these companies. Then you would go to prospect examples, and then you would be able to search in here where we filter the list of objects first for all of the experiences that are not at their current company. And then we could look for anybody where their experience is false. You actually could just skip to this and you could just make their current experience equal false, but we just want to make sure that we're not calling out any of the same companies. So I would recommend doing both. Then we split up the LinkedIn slug. We clean the LinkedIn slug. We go back to the customer list to check on any past experience. And then we can look up the record and we can find anybody who has a past experience of working at one of our customers, but now they've moved on to somebody else, while protecting ourselves for reaching out to somebody who works at one of our current customers and they are currently working there. Now, I know that in some ways this is easier to do in other forms. You could go to LinkedIn Sales Navigator and upload a list of your current customers and check past experience in there and see if anybody is in there. That's a really manual version of doing this. And this you can build into any of your workflows. So you can have 6 other triggers running, and then you can have this running in the background. Just in case somebody did used to work at one of your current customers, you could have this running in your Clay table as well too, so that then you could just push everybody. And it's free to be able to do these lookups. And it's the best campaign you could possibly send. Well, maybe not the best one, but it's a very good one that you can send. And so I hope you found this useful, and let me know if you have any questions about the workflow.